You ever look around at the world? All the chaos, all the conflict, and just wonder what's really going on? Well, the source material we're digging into today presents a pretty wild idea. It suggests that all this turmoil isn't new at all. It's actually the fallout from an ancient cosmic war, a battle between angels that, get this, never really ended.
And that really brings us to the core question here. What if all of it, the division, the manipulation, everything that feels so chaotic, what if it's not random? What if there's a script, one that was written thousands and thousands of years ago, not here on Earth, but way up in the heavens?
So to really wrap our heads around this, we have to go way, way back. And I mean way back. Before humanity even. The source takes us to the scene of a cosmic rebellion, an event that would basically change the game for planet Earth forever.
Okay, so the main players in this whole drama, the fallen angels, obviously. But this text, it has a pretty unique take on why they fell. It wasn't the usual story of lust or wanting more stuff. Nope, it was pride. A kind of intellectual, egocentric pride where they basically looked at God's other creations and thought, we're better than them.
And man, there's this one quote from the source that just nails their whole attitude. Lucifer supposedly says, I am fire of fire. Shall I worship clay and matter? And that clay and matter, that's us. That's humanity. They saw us as beneath them. And that refusal, that single act of refusing to see the divine in people, that's what kicked off the whole war. And the timeline for this whole thing is, well, it's staggering. It kicks off with Lucifer's rebellion, where he supposedly convinces a third of the angels to join him. Then they come down to Earth, take on physical bodies, and start mixing it up with early humans in places like Lemuria and Atlantis. But here's the kicker. When those continents sank, it didn't end. The source claims that everyone involved, the good guys, the bad guys, all of them, just got locked into this endless cycle of reincarnation, playing out the same old drama, life after life. So all that ancient history, that's just the prequel. Because according to this text, the war didn't just fizzle out when Atlantis disappeared. No, the battlefield just moved. It moved right here, to the world we're all living in today.
And the source says they're using a whole playbook of strategies to keep this war going. We're talking economic manipulation, using things like inflation and central banks to control the flow of money. We're talking chemical manipulation, pushing things that dull our spiritual senses. And then there's the big one, cultural and spiritual control. Getting to key positions in media, science, you name it, and pushing ideas designed to make us feel small and powerless.
And look, this text does not pull any punches. It makes some pretty bold claims. Like, for instance, it says the Federal Reserve didn't just pop up naturally. It claims it was the result of a conspiracy of bankers, specifically designed to control the economy from behind the curtain.
All right, now this next part, this is where things get really, really interesting. The source argues that because of this ancient war, we now have two totally different spiritual bloodlines living on Earth right now, literally walking among us side by side. It uses the old parable of the wheat and the tares to explain it. The wheat, they're called the children of light. They're souls who have that divine spark, but they're often a bit naive about how subtle evil can be. And get this, the text says their spiritual light is literally milked to fuel the material world of the tares. And the tares? Well, they're supposedly the descendants of the fallen angels. They're masters of the material world, total pros at manipulation, and they have to put on a good face to trick and control the wheat. The idea is that they won't be separated out until the very end.
So, what are we supposed to do with this information? Well, here's the crucial takeaway from the source. It's impossible to know for sure who's who, right? I mean, the best manipulators look like the nicest people. So the point isn't to start pointing fingers and judging everyone. The real work is to sharpen our own intuition, our own inner discernment.
Okay, so after painting this huge, epic picture of a cosmic problem, the source does something really important. It pivots to the solution. And the solution isn't what you might think. It's not about gearing up to fight some big bad enemy out there. It's about turning inward and realizing who we really are.
And the first step, it says, is to unlearn a huge spiritual lie, the whole idea of original sin. The text argues that this belief that we're born inherently bad or stained is actually a psychological weapon. Its whole purpose is to make us forget the incredible power we're all born with.
Because the truth, according to this, is the complete opposite. We all have a divine spark inside of us. The source calls it a threefold flame that's literally glowing in our hearts. So you see, life isn't about fixing something that's broken. It's about setting free the incredible divinity that's been in you all along.
And this true identity, this divine you,
It has a name in this teaching, the I Am presence. You can think of it as your higher self, your real self. It's the part of you that's perfect, permanent, and has never, ever been separated from God. That's your true power source.
All right, so this is all great, but how do you actually tap into this power? How do you use it? This is my favorite part. The source lays out a whole spiritual toolkit full of practical things you can do for empowerment and protection.
The number one tool in the box is something called the science of the spoken word. And the basic idea is pretty mind-blowing. Our words are more than just sounds. When we speak with intention and with authority, our words become tools. They can actually direct spiritual energy to make real, tangible changes in our lives.
The practice itself is called decreeing, and the source gives us a simple 5-step process. First, you get centered in your heart, remembering that divine flame inside you. Second, you call on your I Am presence, your higher self, as the source of your power. Third, and this is key, you state your decree out loud, like a command, not like you're begging. Fourth, you visualize it happening, you see it. And fifth, you repeat it to build up what the text calls spiritual momentum.
And decreeing is just the start. The toolkit is packed. There's a visualization called the Tube of Light, a 9-foot cylinder of white light for protection. There's the violet flame, which is like a spiritual energy that can purify negative karma. You can even call on Archangel Michael directly for help, or use specific decrees to, and I quote, bind and render inactive the forces of evil.
You know, it all really boils down to this one powerful idea from the text. This quote just says it all. We were created in God's image, and there's no higher image than that. It's a reminder that our deepest, most fundamental nature is divine, and once you really get that, everything changes.
So after this entire cosmic journey, the source leaves us with one last massive question. It basically argues that you, right now, hold the key to not just your own transformation, but the transformation of the entire planet. So the real question is, what are you going to do with it?
Rise up, rise high. Let your spirit take flight. Chase the stars, never back down from the fight. We're warriors inside.